Alright, here's the basics on getting set up with a 4-chord song in GarageBand. So I'm going to start a new project today and start with some beats. There's a couple different ways you could create a beat for your song. From hardest to easiest, I would say clicking acoustic drums would be your hardest, and you could try to tap out a beat yourself. But that's going to be a challenge, even if you are an actual drummer. There's only so many fingers you can use, and if you're a real drummer, you know you need your feet to actually make a proper beat. Beat sequencer is another option. You can decide which instruments play when by kind of generating or lighting up or unlighting up these different squares. Down at the bottom, you could roll the dice, and it will randomize a beat for you. And you can pick different kits down at the bottom left. I won't waste time looking at all the options. That's your job. Easiest way to make a beat, in my opinion, is the Smart Drums feature. This allows you to organize the instruments on this grid, left to right, simple to complex, meaning how simple is the beat itself from that instrument, and then the y-axis up and down is loud to quiet. So obviously top right would be loudest and most complex, bottom left would be simplest and quietest. And you can drop in these instruments into the mix and see what you get. Tapping this icon here shows you all the different kits available. And the dice near the bottom left randomizes the instruments for you. Maybe you stumble into something you like. To record your first track, that's going to be the red circle up in the top middle. Let's do that now. You can see the timeline starts to paint red across my timeline at the top, and I want it to use this beat across all 8 of my bars, they're called, of music, a measurement of music. That's why it looks like a ruler. Now that it's green, I've hit stop. I've got my first track recorded. Up at the top left, there are a bunch of icons starting from the furthest left. The page icon would save my work, which is maybe worthwhile to do at the moment, and I could rename it whatever I want. Once I hop back in here, the other icons, the 3 squares of different sizes, takes me back to the instrument selection screen. But right now I want to use the 3rd icon in, which is the track selection, and it's kind of some split rectangles stacked on top of each other. This takes me to the track view here. I actually have 2 tracks at the moment, but as you can see, only one has a recording in it at the moment. Any tracks that I don't want, like this additional drum beat here, which isn't really doing anything for me, I can tap once and delete. Here, I can see my beat, and I can play through my recording. To add my next instrument will be at the bottom left. Any of the smart instruments will work well for our purposes. So that could be smart piano, smart strings, smart bass, smart guitar, and any of the world instruments have smart feature as well. Let's start with smart guitar. So this smart instruments all work the same. You will see somewhere an autoplay, it's called. When you turn that on to one of the 4 options, it's going to take away the strings of the instrument in this case, because the GarageBand is going to play a pattern for you. Make sure you're on the chords side and not notes. If you're seeing something like this, you might just need to switch over to the chords side, which is a group of notes. Before we get into autoplay options here, let's take a moment to edit our chords. we have the 4 chords we want: C, G, A minor, and F. But let's put them in the proper order to make life easier later and eliminate some of these options we don't need. I'm going to hit the gear at the top right. I'm going to hit Edit Chords. And I'm going to go left to right in the order of the chords I need. Starting with C, major, M-A-G. The other 2 modifiers are none, none. Next chord I will need will be a G major. So I go down to G, maj, none, none. The next chord I need will be A minor. A minor is A, min, none, none. And the final chord I need will be F, major, none, none. These other 4, I like to just get rid of them because we don't need them. So I click on them and scroll to the very top of the leftmost column to none. And that just clears them out of this space. So that cleans up my chords to just the ones that I need. Now I can go through my autoplay options 1 through 4 and decide which pattern I like best. I first maybe also want to consider a different instrument altogether. There's autoplay 1. Let's listen to autoplay 2. Different feel, different pattern. Autoplay 3. Different feel, different pattern. Autoplay 4. Let's say I like that one. When I go to record my chords, very important that I know the timing of these. So up in my timeline here, I've got 8 bars of music. You can even think of it like inches because it almost looks like a ruler. If I've got 8 bars and I've got 4 instruments that I've got 8 bars and 4 chords that need to be played. 8 divided by 4 is 2, of course. So each chord is going to be featured for 2 bars. Again, if you want to think of it like a ruler, that means you're going 2 inches or 2 centimeters or 2 bars in this case of time for each chord. So C chord will be played all through bar 1 and 2. At this specific point here, I'm going to transition to G major for bar 3 and 4. This is the halfway point of my small song here. Once bar 4 is finished, I transition to A minor and allow that to play to this transition point. At bar 7, I transition to my final chord, allowing F to play for the last 2 bars. How that works is I hit record, I get a moment to prepare, so I'm going to select my C major chord before the song even starts recording, and then it's up to me to try to nail my transitions. Again, they'll be at the 3, 5, and 7 beginning of those bars. Let's give it a go. Transition. 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 Let it play. Back to the top. It's painted green, so I'm literally just hearing what I recorded already. So I'm going to click stop. I can go back to my track view. I now have a new track. I can continue adding tracks as I go, but it might be wise to take a moment to possibly mute the tracks that you already have so that you can really focus on the ones you're still recording. To do that, I'm going to talk about the 4th icon in from the left, which is the sliders here. So this is the icon next to FX, which we'll talk about another day, but these are the track settings, so you can control things like the volume of this track a couple different ways. You could turn that slider all the way down, and then you're just only hearing your drum beat. Or you could click mute on this track. It turns it gray. It doesn't delete anything. And then later you can come back and unmute it. But this works well so that you can add a new track now, say, like a pipa. And I need to switch to chords here and pick an autoplay. Right, autoplay 2. Yeah, I kind of like that. So I'm going to try and nail my same transitions. Different instrument needs to be in unison with my other instrument. That's how a band works. So let's see if I can nail my transitions again here. Nailed it. Back to my tracks. At this point, I'd want to maybe go and turn back on the volume for my guitar and mess around with the volumes of these two and see how they fit together. My pipe is a bit loud, and my guitar's a bit soft. I don't know. That's up to you. Part 2 will be adding effects and changing all these sliders to mix your song together. That should get you a start anyways. Good luck.